In this video, I'm going to reveal one of the fastest ways to improve your writing. This method is actually very simple, but most aspiring writers don't even know it exists, which means that they end up wasting years of their lives not getting any better at their craft. If you want to avoid that mistake, the mistake that 99% of beginner writers make, watch this video until the very end. The method I'm going to reveal to you is literally the difference between you making zero progress over the next few months and you experiencing quantum leaps in your writing ability. So I hope I've got your attention, and if so, let's just begin. To make the method I'm going to share with you a bit more understandable, let's first look at a few other disciplines. Let's start with music as an example. I'm a big Beatles fan. In fact, big probably doesn't even cut it. I was literally listening to Abbey Road earlier today and I was crying as usual. If you love their music too, you'll be able to relate to what I'm talking about. But did it ever cross your mind as to how the Beatles became so good at writing songs so quickly? You see, without other musical influences, the Beatles never would have become the act that they became. Before they even dreamt about playing their own songs, they would play their favorite songs from other artists until they just became second nature. This method is what I call influential emulation, and it's the method that made the Beatles such elite songwriters. By closely studying and replicating their favorite musicians, they were able to get so much better at writing their own songs so much faster than everyone else that was around at the time. You can do the exact same thing with your writing. So, I've revealed what influential emulation is, but what does it involve? Simply put, it involves three things: analyzing, imitating, and recreating. You apply all three of these things to someone's work that you admire. So if you're a massive Beatles fan like me and you want to create music like them, you'd listen to all of their songs, learn how to play them on a musical instrument of your choice, and then you'd break down the lyrics and melodies and understand deeply why the music works in the way it does. From there, you'll be able to apply those lessons into your own songs. Now, let's apply this same thing to writing content on social media, because that's probably what you're here for. If your favorite writer is someone like Dan Coe, for example, you're going to obsessively study his work to see why his content performs so well. From there, you're going to recreate everything that makes his writing so special. This doesn't mean you copy everything he's ever written word for word. That's not what this is. It means you become so familiar with how Dan writes that you're able to apply those same things into your writing and get the same results that he has received. The same principle applies to every other piece of writing that you're interested in. It doesn't have to be content. It doesn't have to be songs. It could be screenplays. It could be musicals. It can be anything. It could be anything you want. The key is to internalize the structures of your favorite writers, absorb their techniques, and become intimately familiar with the psychology behind what makes their work so powerful. So instead of just consuming content passively, follow these steps instead. 1. Choose a piece of writing or content that you love. Then analyze it. 2. Try to recreate the piece from memory. The key here is to focus on the style, structure, and word choice as opposed to trying to create an identical replica. 3. Compare your version to the original and see how it's different. Did you miss anything? Were there some things that you added that are better than the original? 4. Repeat the process, refine your understanding, and develop your skills. This is exactly the 4-step process that Benjamin Franklin used to become a great writer. Before Benjamin Franklin became a very good writer, he was terrible. That's not me saying that. That was what he said about himself. The reason his writing changed is because he applied this 4-step framework to a piece of content that he really liked. He really liked a magazine called The Spectator at the time when he was alive. And he literally applied these 4 steps to the articles and essays that were in The Spectator, and over time he became an amazing writer. If you think this sounds like a lot of work, it is. I'm not going to lie to you. It is quite a lot of work. But here's what you need to understand. The reason why 99% of writers fail is because they can't be bothered to do this. They don't take their learning seriously, and they assume they already know everything they need to. By you watching this video and becoming aware of this method, you're already ahead of the vast majority of people who want to start writing online. Now all you have to do is implement what you've learned and improve your writing. Why do you think most guitar players aren't as good as Jimi Hendrix? You know, was it because Jimi Hendrix had a genetic advantage? What, were his fingers that much bigger than everyone else's? Was it fate? Was he just naturally more talented? Like, no, he worked his arse off. Jimi Hendrix became the guitar player he became because he was extremely serious about learning. Before Jimi Hendrix ever created his own unique sound, he studied his favorite blues guitar players harder than someone who would study for a PhD at Oxford University. In other words, he was completely obsessed with this process of influential emulation. So much so that by the time he started making his own music, all of the techniques he'd learnt when he was studying were just ingrained within his psyche. He could call upon them whenever he wanted. He had like an arsenal of tricks up his sleeve, just ready to be deployed at any moment, and it made his music so amazing. The same goes for a filmmaker like Quentin Tarantino. Like, why do you think Quentin Tarantino is able to produce banger after banger after banger? How is he able to write so many classic films that transcend genres? The answer again lies in influential emulation. Tarantino would be nothing without the people that came before him, and he admits this. The guy was literally the biggest movie geek in the world, probably in the universe. By the time he started making Reservoir Dogs, his first film, he'd already done his 10,000 hours of serious studying. He knew what he liked and he knew what he didn't like. His taste was already intact. And most importantly, he'd learned all the lessons and internalized all the skills to bring his own vision to life. And if you want to be an impactful writer, it's essential that you do the same thing. I don't care what you're writing. You could be writing anything. You could be writing songs. You could be writing plays. You could be writing instruction manuals. Like, I really don't care what you're writing. If you want to become excellent at the things you write, you need to become a practitioner of influential emulation. And I encourage you to experiment as a writer. Don't just write one thing. Write loads of different things, because they will all serve each other. When you decide to write songs, your ability to write content isn't going to diminish. It's going to improve. You're going to draw more connections and become an overall better writer. You know, this channel is not about giving hyper-specific cookie-cutter advice that can only be applied to hyper-specific areas. Because writing is one of the biggest art forms ever. I mean, I call it an infinite art form. That might not be true technically, but it is an infinite art form in the sense that you can never run out of things to write about. And I personally want to explore every single crevice of this infinite art form. That's why write absolutely everything that you feel drawn to, whether it be a movie script, a play, a song, a piece of content, it doesn't matter. Write all of it. Study the people you admire most, understand their techniques inside and out, and by the time you sit down to write, the words will flow through you effortlessly. I'm going to end it here. Thank you very much for watching. Click the first link in the description and get access to my completely free magnetic writing course. It will really help you improve as a writer. And if you like this video, I think you'll like this next one, which talks about how to come up with infinite ideas. I'll see you there.